Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about BTBT, Clean Spark, IREN, Marathon, WGMI, and that's it for Flower Child and Cow. We're talking about these for you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get started. All right, BTBT Digital had a hell of a rocky start to this week, didn't it? But it's come back up pretty neutral. You're only down 2.3% this week overall with the immaculate dump opening that you saw on Monday. Recovered a little bit. I think it's too early to call this a low, but I feel somewhat comfortable across the board calling it a low. The only thing that makes me not comfortable is I hear a lot of people saying that as well. So, but in your 618, 6.9 area, nice area to find support. Close back up above your 0.5. The real challenge lies in closing above 309. If you can close above $3.09, that would be nice to see. That would convince me that this is your low and you're looking to move higher, right? If you can't do that, well, perhaps that's not your low. You might be moving down to 214, 195, but it remains to be seen. So let's just see how this week develops over the coming days, right? We can talk about this one again, but Flower Child, if you get multiple days that close above this, just know that that probably is your low. If you move up here and reject, especially if you reject and you go below the 0.5. If you reject, you find support and then move up like that, that's okay. But if you reject from the 382, start closing days below here, start closing days below the 618, that's when I would throw these targets on the table. If not even lower, but probably more likely these targets. Those targets being at 214 to 195. However, close above 309 for multiple days, and we can start talking about a breakout of this overall consolidation range, which would probably take you up, beyond $7, probably, right? High point here, low point there. 710, 1038, something like that. That's BTBT. I'm not saying that's going to happen now, but I'd really like to check in on this Flower Child. If you can request this whenever we're above 309 for more than 2 days, I think that'd be nice. Or after a negative reaction, whatever might happen, but we'll see. I would think they're going to have a positive reaction, but we'll see. Clean Spark with the dump. We got it over with, guys. It was as quick as it could be, quick and easy. Broke out of this long phase of consolidation, which originally I had called for a move that would be around here, probably just below here, and 1189, the lowest that we saw was actually at 934, so that was a lot more than just below. But I don't think Clean Spark is broken by any means. I think this is just a quick little, what they would call a shakeout, a dump, from a high to a low point here. And by no means was my previous remarks trying to be like, I was right, I called it. I said that we'd go back here because I called it right here. No, because the rest of this time I was saying we probably won't drop and we're going to have a breakout to the upside. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm right. I have no qualms with admitting that I'm wrong. I'm just saying that this happening, whatever the call might have been, who cares? This happening is not that significant, right? It's not detrimental to the chart. I think that it's fine overall from a high to low here. Right below your 382, right above your 0.5. Not a bad area to be at all. Still a higher low, and recovering quite nicely so far. You're down 9% this week still, even with the recent recovery, but let's see if it can carry on. That's the real goal, right? The next goal for Clean Spark. I don't even know if this is the proper way to draw it. Maybe this would be. The next goal is to get above $15.18 and stay above there. That's your goal. You're at 12.26 right now, so a little bit higher. Yeah. I don't like your 1 hour RSI. I don't like your 3 hour. I don't know what to make of them. The daily's in an area that you could expect to find support, right? If we look at it like this on the daily, you've been here, right around there. The last time that you were right around this line, right, at that point would have been here, right around your lows. You moved up later, slowly but inevitably, right? Here, right at this line as well. Not quite at your lows, but very near it, and then you actually did tip this line again when you were at your lows. Started to move up, not fast, consolidated, but then inevitably moved up higher, right? Last time here, you were actually below this line. You touched it, not here, you were technically above it, but when you did interact with it or cross it was here, which was a day before your low as well, and then boom, you moved up. Here, you tipped it right on this part here, moved up and continued to move lower, but relatively speaking, you moved down to about $2.02, moved down to 175. That's pretty close. That's still about a 10% drop or so. But nevertheless, you did move up higher afterwards. So, and then this is like bear market circumstances too, so it's a little different. But I would assume you're very near your low. I think that is your low. I'm very confident that that's it. I don't think you're going to go lower, but you could, but I don't think you will. 518, or sorry, 1518. That's what we want to see. You close above there, we can start talking about moving to the top of this range again. And finally, when you break out of that range, we're talking about $36, $40 being your price target. Even beyond that, really, I mean, we've got a new low here, right? From the high to a low, you might be hitting $45, man. That'd be pretty nice. Comes in line well with these highs over here. Just above it, get that like little fake out breakout, right? Where you're like breaking out above these highs, and it's like, oh, I'm just kidding, I'm gonna go down. That might make sense. But 32, 45, somewhere in there, that's your next target zone, inevitably, over the weeks and months whenever it finally decides to happen. Very good areas to buy, I think. Very good areas to DCA. For what it's worth, IREN, Iris Energy, with a nice dump. She got a dump from a low to a low over here. Look at that. You're just so pretty. It's such a dramatic graphic dump, and yet holding this white line very well. It's poetic. Yeah, I think it looks fine. Weekly RSI looks fine. Price looks fine. That's it, IREN. You're done moving lower. You're at 792. You might see prices lower than the current price, sure. Over the coming days or weeks even, it's possible. You could absolutely still be, doing this. You're not going to move lower than that low, right? And then inevitably you'll move up whenever it is time. IREN, as the boys and girls are calling it these days. You might see a nice move up to about $31 to $44, man. You're at $7.92 right now, so decent gains. And yes, I mean those targets. I very much do. New all-time highs is your next target. That's to put it lightly, to put it quite lightly. Anyways, that's IREN. Is it going to happen this week or next week? Is it moving up in a straight line? Is it going to do this right now? No, I don't think so, right? It took its time here, and that was still pretty fast. You just found your low. What'd you do the last time that you found your low, right? A significant low here. Move down, you found your low. You moved sideways for a whole nother week afterwards, and then, yes, you broke out. Well, you didn't technically break out till 2 weeks after that. But, I mean, to be fair, that was actually a pretty rapid recovery. Here you found your low the same week that you actually started to move up, but it was a lower high nonetheless. Maybe that's a better interpretation of it, right? Here's your consolidation phase. Here's your true low. You didn't really break out till over here, so it was some time afterwards, right? I don't think it'll be that long, but just as like a point of reference. Here you found your low, and then it was one week after that you broke out, right? I don't know. Maybe you are closer to breaking out than I was thinking originally, but it wouldn't surprise me. All I'm trying to say with this last part is it wouldn't surprise me if IREN figured itself out for the rest of this week, maybe even going into next week. And then sometime in the middle of the month or later in the month, we can start to see some recovery, and maybe September or the end of this month, we can see a breakout, something like that. But it's not going to be overnight, right? It might feel like overnight if you just blink and close your eyes for a few days, but that's my thoughts on IREN. Marathon, Mara, even though it's marathon, it's not marathon. I have such a problem with that. Recovered quite nicely. And I've been saying this, I don't say it every video, but Marathon, you guys, is slept on, which is so crazy because it's the biggest one, right? It's the biggest crypto mining stock by market cap. To my knowledge, it is, right? I don't think there's anything with a higher market cap, 4.88 in the crypto mining industry. Maybe there is, but I don't think there is. If it's not, then it's one of the biggest ones. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. Cal, you request it, but I think Marathon, for being one of the top dogs, it's actually slept on. People look to put their money elsewhere, but Marathon, look at how well it's performing. It's got a positive week while the rest of these have a negative week, and it's the top dog. Like, of course it is, right? Of course it's going to have the positive week out of all of them. I like it. I love the recovery. I'm more hopeful for this one. This actually makes me want to put money into Marathon instead of Riot, which we'll see, but we'll see, man. I don't know. Marathon's always a good one, too. It's like the Bitcoin of the mining stocks, in my opinion. $43, $58, $59, those are your target areas. You're at 1725. Absolutely target areas by the end of this year. By the end of the cycle, we've got higher targets in mind. Much, much higher targets in mind. From a high to a low, 204, 637. Probably not 637. But 204, 325, absolutely possible. Completely possible, yeah. By the end of the cycle. By the end of the year, let's talk about like 41 to 58, $59, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this area by the end of the year. By the end of the cycle, we've got bigger things in mind. But yes, marathon looking good. Probably continues to look good. Probably remains relevant as it always does. And yeah, great time to buy. That's all I got to say. It's a great time to buy. It's up 0.35% this week, and it is a great time to buy. It's up from its relative low that it just had earlier this week, 2 days ago. It is up 25, 26% from that, and it is a great time to buy. Relatively speaking, if you're looking at this range for what it is, right, you're still at the lower parts of this range, right? You put a line like right in the middle there, still lower parts. So great time to DCA. Previous areas of resistance, finding support around here, great time. Previous areas of support, finding support on the 123 moving average, just all around, I think, yeah, it's a great time to get into marathon. All right, WGMI, Valkyrie Bitcoin miners, probably doing so well because it holds marathon. I don't know if it does actually. Does it tell me what it holds over here? Nope. Oh, that's okay though. Yeah, looks like it found its low. Kind of reminds me of the IREN trust or stock. Sorry, not trust. Maybe not as pretty. Maybe it's not so pretty, but still, you know, finding support in this general area, whatever. Broke out of it. I don't care. I think it's fine. Mainly because I think most of the mining stocks are fine. I'm very surprised that you didn't see prices in your overbought zone, but whatever. Straight dump instead. That's what you got. A little bit of a recovery. Bounced right off your oversold zone, though. Hey, that's nice. Bounced right off of that. Yeah, I like it. I'm somewhat convinced that's your low as well. It's not common to do this, but I've seen it happen enough times where I've started to pay attention. Where you go from your expected fib areas and you drop all the way through your 618 and down to your 382. This is not common. Normally this is condemning. But your 382 or your 236 for that matter, sometimes they seem to be your last lines of defense. Generally speaking, it's the 618 that would be, but you fell all the way through, had a very positive reaction off your 382, and then closed above the 618 all in the same day. I think that's your low. You found support on it the next day, which was today, Tuesday. Tomorrow, depending on what you do, you know, I'd like to see you get up higher, but the current goal is to close above 2076. You close above there, I'd say that I'm very convinced that's your low. I'm already pretty convinced, but you close above there. Really now we're looking at higher prices relative to this $27 area that you went at. So really the next target area would be $30 to $35 and potentially even higher. You're at $17.96 now. And when I'm saying those targets, I'm talking about by the end of the year, 30 to 35, maybe even 41 to 54. But yeah, I think you're fine. I think you look fine as well, right? And that makes sense. This is a miners ETF, probably based on some of the ones that we've talked about already. I got nothing else I want to say, man. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content. All of them, you know, again, just because I'm talking about them going up doesn't mean it's going to happen now. Don't be surprised if there's prices that are lower than their current prices, and then higher, and then lower, and then higher, and you know, we're just consolidating until we move out. But it could be a rapid recovery. It really depends on what the rest of the markets do. Not just crypto, not just stocks, but like everything kind of on a world economic scale. But probably more so just regular crypto. Depends on what crypto does. But anyways, guys, I'm tired of talking and rambling, so I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.